So the next piece is to build authority and to get clients coming to you, right? The challenge with cold, and it's a very important part of the game, is that you have to convince the clients. You have to do a lot of chase to get them to convert. And if you can position yourself as the expert and kind of flip the script from you chasing them to them chasing you, your business totally change. It really becomes a much easier and fun thing to do. And so there's lots of things you can do to position yourself as the expert in just about any niche. The first is to develop yourself a keynote presentation, which is just a thoughtful presentation on what somebody in that particular market should do to get better results online. So somebody type in here what niche you're going after, and I'll give you a very specific example. Somebody type in their niche. Quick, come on. Time's flying. I can't believe how quick we're. Okay, so Scott focuses on pest control. So keynote presentation. 9 things every pest control company should do to generate more leads online, right? And then you do a presentation that hits those 9 things, right? They should have a great website. They should get ranked. They should, optimize in a certain way, right? And so you develop a keynote presentation that you record and you put up on YouTube. You load it into some social profiles, and then you start to reach out to the association. Say, hey, I've got this great keynote presentation on how to help your pest control guys generate better results online. Great way and a great foundational step. Everybody should have at least one core keynote presentation. We talked about a cheat sheet. You could also have a marketing guide, which is basically that same thing. The 9 key steps for every pest control company to truly maximize your lead flow online. A niche-specific website, so that's not localagency.com. It's pestcontrolmarketing.com, right? It's something that is all built, all of the content around it is built and written for that niche. Like if you go to plumberseo.net, the whole website is how do you generate better results as the owner of a plumbing business or an HVAC business online. And I go into lots of great information on how to claim their directories and how to generate online reviews and lots of case studies. And so you want to have something like that where when people do think, man, I'm kind of interested in you, and they go to look you up, they see that you've got information out there and they see you as the expert. Case studies and testimonials, video-based webinars, that's just taking your keynote and recording it and then inviting people to it on autoplay. White paper and guide, the complete guide to internet marketing for that niche. So we've got our book, How to Triple Your Sales by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right for Plumbing and HVAC Contractors. This is one of the most powerful positioning assets that we ever did, right? Because ultimately, who's the expert? The expert is either the person at the front of the room or the author of the book. And if you can say you wrote the book on internet marketing for that niche, you're the expert and you can own that expert status. Email sequences, making sure you're following up automatically when somebody registers. A podcast, on my podcast, I've got 2. The Plumbing HVAC Marketing Show, which is where I interview multi-million-dollar plumbing companies from across the country. That gives me great positioning. And then my Plumbing and HVAC Marketing Podcast, which is where I just share ideas and tips. And then a printed newsletter. So we send out a printed newsletter every month to the people in our space. They get it in the mail. This was a returned one. And a lot of people don't mail stuff. People don't get stuff in their mailbox anymore. So when you send something in the mail and you show up consistently, a great way to position yourself as the expert. So these are just some tidbits on expert positioning. There's lots of things you can do. Most of these would be overkill for most of you guys right out of the gates. But what I found to be the most powerful lever in positioning, because it really touches a lot of these things in a very succinct way, and that's to leverage monthly topical webinars, and that's really the ultimate content lever for agency growth. And I'm kind of going to unpack that for you. Because you're going to be developing lists, right? You're going to do cold email. Ideally, you're going to join the association. You're probably going to do some type of marketing through Facebook ads or pay-per-click advertising or direct mail. And you're going to wind up with a database. And I recommend like Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign or Agile CRM, like a holding tank for all of your prospects that have raised their hand or that you've cold outreach to. And you're going to have them sitting there. And what happens in most cases, you get this database and you never touch it. Or you, like once in a blue moon, you send an email out to them and it's really a waste of time, right? What you have to do is figure out how you're going to nurture that database. And really, when you start to do this, it changes everything because you do cold email associations that sits in the CRM, but then you touch them a couple times a week with value-added content. You nurture them. You offer your services to them, and that's where you can start to get a steady flow of new clients coming in every month. And what I found is that you can develop a systematic process for creating new content and nurturing and really shaking that database and having new clients come out every single month by using webinars. And by this, I don't mean like a one keynote presentation webinar. I mean something new and topical on a monthly basis. And I'll explain exactly what I mean by that. And it really has a massive amount of power on two very critical areas. To grow your database. So you want to be adding new prospects to your database every single month. So you're going to buy the association list and eventually you've got that. But you need new people, right? And then you need to nurture the people that you already have in your database so that you can get the ones that are kind of interested to get on your schedule and to hire your services. So the way webinars helps you grow your database is because when you create a webinar, it can be syndicated in a lot of different ways, right? You do a webinar about how to get ranked, and then you do a webinar about how to get reviews, and then you do a webinar about how to set up a website for a pest control company. And then you can take that one piece, you can load it up on YouTube, you can get it on iTunes, you can take the slides and put them on SlideShare, you can take the recording and put it up on social media, both in your personal page, your business page, groups that you control, and groups that you participate in that are relevant to your niche. And by doing so, you can pull people into your funnel every single month because they saw that new webinar that you did last month that was really interesting, and they start to follow you or they start to opt in and they get into your database. And then you can nurture the database by rolling out fresh content every single month. And when you do live events, which are a live webinar like what we're doing right now, you get their attention. You have a reason to email them multiple times, and you have a reason for them to give you their undivided attention for a little period of time. And so really, I believe that one new webinar per month can drive your entire content and lead generation machine for your digital marketing agency. And so I'll just kind of unpack a little bit about how this works. First of all, again, it gives you the reason to email them multiple times. So let's say you've got 1,000 pest control companies sitting in your database. Because you commit to do a webinar every month, you have the email that goes out to them, hey, I've got a webinar coming up this month about this. You've got the reason to email them right before the webinar happens. You've got the reason to email them after the fact. And what I found is, if you don't have a reason to email them, the database goes cold. But if there's a value-added reason, you can really be in their inbox very, very frequently without annoying them and by adding value on a consistent basis. You can drive those multiple streams of new content, and that's like your live webinar when it happens. That's the YouTube recording that you upload into YouTube. It's the sliced up content, so you can take a 10-point webinar and slice it into 10 individual videos. That worked well for me. Initially, I had one webinar, sliced it up multiple times, and that I just kind of saturated YouTube with all great content about how to market a plumbing company online, and it was all just split from one hour long presentation. You then take the recorded version of your webinar and you post it on your website as a blog post. You take the audio from that, you kind of export the MP3 file, and now you've got a podcast episode they can sit on iTunes and other podcast sites. You take the audio words that you spoke and you have them transcribed through a service like Rev. You take the slides and you put them up on SlideShare. You kind of syndicate this out into social media, and it really drives a myriad of great content, a great reason to contact your prospects on a monthly basis, and again, can really drive your whole engine of content generation. Well, I hope you found that information useful that you can go back and implement in your digital marketing agency. If you'd like more ideas, strategies, and techniques on really how to effectively grow your digital marketing agency, I'd like to invite you to go to sevenfigureagency.com/video. That's sevenfigureagency.com/video. There I outline how we were able to grow our digital marketing agency from 0 to 7 figures in the first 2 years, and then to the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies the last 3 years in a row. Lots of ideas that you can implement to really accelerate the growth of your digital marketing agency. So I really encourage you, go ahead and head over there, opt in, it's completely free, and take a look at that video series. I'll look forward to talking with you soon.